We're not doing that tonight. Not doing that tonight. I have tasked myself because I can't seem to get the energy out of my body enough. I've tasked myself with trying to figure out what I can say about what happened last night. Everyone knows what happened last night. I don't need to explain. I don't need to go over the details. I don't need to rehash. You all know what happened last night. For the benefit of those that see this after the fact, I will say that I am talking about the insurrection, the terrorist actions that happened at the Capitol yesterday. And the reason that I feel compelled to come out here and talk to you today is because I feel through my portrayal of who I was on Limit Break Radio that there is more than a few people who have some kind of sense of who I am or what I'm all about. And you might. Because this show, Limit Break Radio, started in 2006. And, that's a long time. People do a lot of growing and changing in, 14 years. But I also feel like I got to give you guys a window into who I was even before Limit Break Radio. So, few things. Before I start getting into this, I do want to hear from you. I do want your chats. I may not respond to you immediately, but I do want to talk to you. So, feel free to respond. I may not get to it, but I will do my best. Item number 2. I'm exhausted. I didn't hardly sleep at all last night. I had to work a full day today. That included even going into the office. And for those of you that don't know, my day job is at a public radio station. So it was with a little bit more than a little fear and a little bit of consternation that I walked in and out of a well-known liberal broadcasting, or what could be categorized, or what could be said as a liberal. I call it fair, but whatever. What could be constrayed as a liberal media organization. And if you don't think I was aware, I was keenly aware of where I was walking into and out of when my shift began and ended, you're wrong. So I'm tired. This is a long way of saying I am very tired. So I have no idea how long this is going to be. This is until I get it all out of my body, because if I don't, I'm going to go back and sit in my bed, and I'm going to have another completely sleepless night. And I can't do that. I also feel it's really important for me to say this because of the character that I portrayed on Limit Break Radio. I think that there are more than a few people who have a diverse range of political opinions that listened to my dumb bullshit about a video game. So I feel like I can reach maybe a few of you by making a point here today. Let's get into that point. Who was I before Limit Break Radio? It's a great question. I was a broadcasting student at Central Michigan University, but I double majored in political science. Because when I went to college, I was this guy. I was this guy with, you can't see the fucking back patch. That visual example didn't work. I was this guy. I was listening to records like this. I was spending money on records like this. Existence, Divisions, with, I'm not sure where that is, but that's definitely some sort of scene of war or social unrest on the cover of that. Excrement of War and Beyond Description split EP with a dead dove on the cover. Excrement of War EP. Ate, a great Japanese band. Awesome songs on here called Rotten to the Core, Patience, Carve the End. And I'm not trying to shit on these. These are great records. And a lot of them have a lot of really good lyrics to them too. Don't think I'm shitting on them. I'm just trying to give you an idea of where my head was at going into college. Entombed, gas masks, axes. Akaya. This one's rather boring because it's just a black cover. Another one from Akaya. It's great band in Spanish. I couldn't tell you what. Here's a great one. Iconochrist. Another Victim. Great record. Why do I bring this up? This was mine. This was my band. This was my record. I made this. I wrote the lyrics, performed the music, and I'm absolutely not about to sit here and disavow any of this shit. This is a very important part of who I am as a person. Side A, Scene of Insanity, Bred by Animals, Back to McCarthyism. Side B, Papal Mind Rape, Crusade for Oil, Give Us Peace. In fairness, I didn't write all of those songs, but I wrote a lot of them. I set that scene for you so that when I tell you that I'm double majored in political science, that you understand that my genuine reason for undertaking that major in college was so that I could understand the corrupt system that I was going to help overthrow. It's real shit. I did that. I said that shit. And over the course of 7 years, while I studied and passed every class I needed for that major, what I learned is how important government is and how important government reform is. Because it's not a lack of government that's going to bring things that we want, like freedom and equality. That doesn't just happen. Because in the absence of that, what happens more commonly is the might makes right strategy of things. That the person who is the strongest, that has the most weapons, usually is the one calling the shots. I had every intention on being a rabble-rouser and a punk to the end. But what I learned was what civic responsibility is and why it's important. Because the reason that I found all of this shit in the first fucking place was because a lot of times they're talking about shit that I actually believe in. Peace, unity, freedom, equality. You know, and I wish I had an example of it right. Oh, here's a great, I do have an example of it. Boom, doom, police bastard. When you see the E and the A on that doom logo, it means two things. It means equality and anarchy. I still very much believe in the equality and the freedom and the unity part. Not so much the anarchy part. I'm not a fan of authority. I don't like being told what to do. But there are rules and laws and government for a fucking reason. Last night was sick and disgusting. But I recognized a part of myself in that mob. A very young part of myself. And one that I tried really, really hard to wrestle with and come to grips with as I got older. I am so deeply ashamed of my fellow countrymen at the moment that words don't even properly describe the depth of despair that I hit last night. The depth of just like, fucking really? Not a single one of those people could stop themselves and think, what are we actually doing? For a guy that grew up listening to bands that romanticized revolution, however nobly they may have framed their cause, you'd think that maybe I'd have a little bit more sympathy for the people who went to Washington, D.C. yesterday to protest at the Capitol. But I don't. I don't, because they're fascists and they're terrorists. Simply put. If that's your response to losing an election, that's my assessment of you as a human being. And that's not hyperbole. That's genuinely what I will believe of you as a human being for the rest of my days. There's nothing in my mind that can fix this. Except for all of those people to be held accountable. If you follow me on Twitter, you'll know already what my next point is going to be. And that's just how big of a component of the problem the police not just the D.C. police, but the police in this country are. The response to what happened yesterday absolutely is ludicrous. We've already seen the head of the D.C. police resign. We've seen a couple of sergeants at arms resign. And they should. They should resign. They should resign in disgrace. And they should never be hired in the halls of law enforcement ever again. These guys are not fit to guard the Quickie Mart, much less the fucking Capitol. What I saw from police yesterday was a joke. And I get it. One of those police officers that was injured yesterday just died. My heart goes out to him and his entire family. But that just proves my point. It should have never gotten that bad ever. I went to so many Black Lives Matter protests. I have a permanent scar on my upper thigh, which, you know what? I'm not going to show you. You're welcome. I have a permanent scar on my upper thigh from getting shot with a rubber bullet. And there's less than 20 arrests yesterday? Unconscionable. I've heard so many rumors about what happened with law enforcement yesterday. And you know what? I don't really want to repeat them. But if it's a fact that there were precincts and other departments that were called in that refused those calls, that is just as treasonous as storming the fucking Capitol. And should be treated with the same anger and outrage that these terrorists are being met with today. Absolutely insane. Let's talk about resignations for a second. By the way, thank you to the 2 subscriptions that have come in. I appreciate that. Let's talk about resignations, because today we saw what? 6 resignations from the White House? I just want to be very clear about this. These are rats jumping a sinking ship. They gave their 2 weeks notice 13 days before the job is over. They're empty gestures. I can't see them as anything except empty fucking gestures. You know, and the people like, you know, the people like Ted Cruz that have helped incite this insurrection. Donald Trump himself. They got to go to jail. There's got to be a lot of people held to account here, and not just the people that broke into the Capitol yesterday. Diamelo saying Cruz is trying to appeal to Trump's base so he can use them to get elected. Yeah. Yeah. And fuck that ambitious fucking coward. Doesn't that make him a bigger piece of shit? It's like Mitch McConnell or Lindsey Graham. The fucking gall of you. And I don't know why. When Republicans, or really anyone, when anyone turns around and at the last second, the last possible second, they walk back from the brink. And for some reason that I can't figure out, we, the audience of this fucking charade, seem to like to forgive them. Why do we give them a free pass? Why do we pat them on the back? Because they had a come to Jesus moment in the last 15 fucking minutes of the fucking game? Fuck you. Fuck them and absolutely every last person that prostrated themselves to Donald Trump because they thought it would keep their fucking job safe. Assholes and cowards, all of you. Fuck. I wish I had something better and more eloquent to say here. But also venting my frustration through 40 minutes of nothing but profanity would pretty much sum up where the fuck my head is at right now. You've got to be held accountable. And not just like one or two people. There has got to be a fucking reckoning. You know, and part of the thing that bothers me is, you know, you think any of those people that stormed the Capitol yesterday, you think they read a book in the last 5 years? Speaking of books, fuck Josh Hawley for complaining about being dumped by his publisher. You incited a riot and sedition within the United States. Go fuck yourself. Emma's saying nobody said 2020 was going to end in 2020. It's true. Chuck saying, how bad is it when I don't even want the head of this cult to lose his job? Like it feels like nothing short of taking some of the major players completely off the table can fix this. There's you used a very important word in there, and that's cult. Because that's exactly what this is. It's a cult driven by superstition. Because that's what belief without facts is. Superstition. It's not faith, it's superstition. It's not just a cult of personality, it's an actual fucking cult. I don't think I'm even being hyperbolic to call it a fucking death cult at this point. And you know, how do you fix that? What do you do with that exactly? Like, what do you do? Like, these people are now politically active. They make up at least half of the fucking Republican Party at this point. What do you do? Shouting them down doesn't work, clearly. Trying to educate them doesn't work. What the actual fuck do you do? You know, I mentioned at the beginning of this thing, I went to college at Central Michigan University. Okay. Central Michigan University in Michigan is right about there. Okay. Now, the blue parts of the state are here, down there, here, and a little bit here. Very little. Everything north, that's fucking red, boy. That's fucking red territory. I went to a conservative college. I lived with Republicans. I sat down and listened to Republicans. I even met Republicans that I respected. But this shit, this is fucking insane. This is Looney Tunes. This isn't about fiscal policy or taxation or letting people be self-reliant. And it sure as fuck ain't about states' rights. It's a fucking sickness. That's the only thing, that's the only conclusion that I can come to. Intensely delusional. Taking a look at the chat. Trying to look, Emma's saying I'm trying to look at this on the bright side, at least with the blue wave barring Dems crossing the aisle, we can hopefully start seeing some shit actually getting done in the next 2 years. Yeah, that's true. That's true. You know, with the Democrats taking the Senate, that's very true. Here's the thing. Here's what I need to see out of Democrats, like within the next month. Is I need to see, for whatever reason, and I don't know why this is, whenever Democrats get fucked in the ass for either 4 or 8 years, the first thing that they want to do is they want to try to be bipartisan, and they want to try to mend fences and reach across the aisle. There is no reaching across the aisle when it comes to what happened fucking yesterday. There is no aisle, as far as I'm concerned. There should only be justice. Period. Full stop. And if they can't and are not willing to do that, then you know what? I'm going to go out on a limb. I'm probably going to say that they're, one of the over 60 crowd, and they need to get the fuck out of the way. The next primary ends up rolling around. Dark Flux, this is what happens when your politics devolved into an us versus them mentality instead of coming together. Compromise should happen in a democracy. It absolutely should. Compromise should happen in a democracy. But there also has to be justice. And I'm not talking about retribution. I'm talking about being held to account for sedition and treason. Because if you don't send a strong and clear message, that shit festers. And guess what? We got to do this shit again in another 2, and then another 4, and then another 6, and then another 8 years. And I don't want this shit to be that much worse when it comes back around. Because you know it will. You know goddamn well it will. Fuck, I had to deal with this in the early 2000s, punk scene. I had to deal with fucking skinheads at every show I went to. Shows I booked. I had to fucking throw them out. Guess what? Waited for me outside. That's some real shit. That happened. When your politics is antithetical to life itself, it's not politics. It just isn't. Biden's stance, if you don't hear this, I will not pardon Trump. I will not interfere in an investigation. Good. I mean, I have concerns about that whole 25th Amendment thing that's going around right now. You give Pence the keys. He has the ability to pardon Donald Trump. Donald Trump can't pardon himself. So for all of those that are pissed off at Mike Pence for shooting down the idea of enacting the 25th Amendment, consider that. He might actually be doing us all a favor and not actually colluding with this fucking psychopath. And if that's the case, if he's actually not colluding with him, maybe he should. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is there. You can be pardoned for federal crimes, not state crimes. The only thing I can think of to start fixing this situation, and it's going to take a lot of time, is to do the same thing the Rebs have been doing forever. It starts with education in schools because there's been a long push for hardcore nationalism in large swaths of your country. There absolutely is. And that's, I'm glad you bring this up because this is actually a really great point. This is some of the more passive pieces of propaganda that gets perpetuated throughout this country. And that's the difference in fucking textbooks between school systems. There are entire textbooks that get passed around the fucking South like candy every year to a whole bunch of new history students that say nothing about slavery in the Civil War and just leave out massive swaths of either U.S. or just uncomfortable history. Education is a huge factor, Dark Flux. Huge. You know what, Chuck? It may be a grift. It may not. I don't know. I can't trust him. I can't fucking trust him. Because for as much as he stopped Donald Trump yesterday, he's fucking enabled him for years. For 4 fucking years. So I don't know. I don't know. I'd like to believe that maybe he has a soul, a heart, a conscience. But I don't know that. Diana is saying, yes, this is a generational problem. There was a Texas official opposing teaching critical thinking because it would go against religion and parents' authority. Yeah. Yeah, that is that's a very real problem. I legit know some folks that didn't know that the U.S. has occasionally lost a war since their textbooks refer to it like a strategic withdrawal. Yeah, that's also true. I wouldn't trust him as far as I could throw him across all the bodies of the people he killed themselves after gender reassignment therapy. Amen. Amen. I'm going to go back in the chat a little bit. Hall Gaming, it's really pissing me off. Did they make us look like a bunch of assholes? I hope they catch them all. Got to catch them all. It'll take some time, but eventually will. I'd like to believe that that's true, but I need to see it. I need to see it happen. Like I can't just on good faith take it that, arrests are happening. No, I've got to see the fucking QAnon shaman and the guy with the podium and, all of these fucking clowns. I got to see their mugshots. Then I will be satisfied. Biden would have had no chance at winning if it weren't for Trump's COVID failure. Yeah. Can you imagine? Can you imagine if he won? Now, granted, if he fucking won, there wouldn't have been an impetus for all of this. But fuck me. Having to put up with this shit for 4 more years, I can't even begin to imagine. I think the one positive is that we may not see another Republican elected to the president, the presidency in like 16 years. That party is fucking damaged. And all through self-inflicted injury, too. They did it all to themselves. They made the deal with the devil, and they fucking get all of it as far as I'm concerned. Diamelos, Democrats have no spine. The reason they keep losing is because they keep running right to chase after a fantasy of a moderate republic. A moderate Republican who isn't going to vote. Who isn't going to vote for them even if they exist. Yeah, that's the thing, is that like even the moderate Republicans, they don't fucking vote with you. Ever. So why? I don't understand. I do not understand why Democratic politicians want to try to fucking, if you want to, after all of the trials, all of the sedition and treason trials, after that you want to try to reach across the aisleway, fine. Go for it. But not a moment before that. God damn. And I'm already hearing it from some Democrats, too. This has been a thing for years. Trump just took advantage of it and cranked it to 11. Yeah. It's never about states' rights or any of that. For the Republicans in power, at least, it's always been about this kind of shit. Trump just pulled the mask off. That's actually a really good point. I mean, how much has the Republican platform really changed in the last 25 years? There was a think piece that was written today that was like, the answer to Trumpism is Reaganism. No, it ain't. No, the fuck it ain't. You mean the thing that opened the door that Trumpism kicked down? No, that's not the fucking answer, you idiot. The answer to Trumpism is to hold them accountable. That's their biggest gamble. And so far, one that they've won a lot more than they've lost, is that at the end of the day, our justice system is so ineffectual that it'll let them skate. Fucking, a black guy has a half ounce of weed, so you break his jaw and lock him up for fucking 40 years. But fucking Q shaman makes his way to the annals of power in this country. And you just let him skate? No, fuck that. Fuck that. Trash Panda TV saying, and we can't tolerate the intolerable because those fuckers kick your door in and try to hang your senators from the steps. Yeah. Good point. Good point. None of this was reasonable. None of this was called for. None of this was justified. None of this is defensible. And every single one of those fucking Republican politicians that's out there either trying to gaslight you into thinking, oh, it was Antifa, or trying in some way to mount some sort of defense for these cockwobbles, you deserve to lose your job. Not only do you deserve to lose your job, you should be put in fucking handcuffs. Fuck's sake. Steel and Rain, there are two problems the Democrats have in the Senate. One is the 60-vote legislative filibuster. Yeah, you could change the rules that a simple majority vote passes, but then there is your second problem of the red state Democrat who votes no every time on changing filibuster. Joe Manchin of West Virginia. Fucking West Virginia. God, I love Fallout 76, but fuck do I actually hate West fucking Virginia. Sure, it's a beautiful state. I've never been there, but I've also never met a person from there who could take two fucking brain cells together, rub them together, and get a thought. Not one. Including fucking Joe Manchin. Fuck that motherfucker. I hope he had the fucking shelter in place. Maybe that might change his goddamn mind a little bit. NATO Meister brings up an excellent point because, you know, for as much as we have to fucking gripe about what happened yesterday, what happened in Georgia is goddamn incredible. And NATO Meister saying, bless Stacey Abrams' soul. Her efforts helped the Democrats achieve historical wins in Georgia. Her strategy of getting left-leaning people to the polls was highly effective. Yes, it was. Absolutely. Nailed it. Fucking, you know, that's why you need community organizers, folks. On the ground community organizers, not just people who send you fucking texts asking you to donate. Emma's saying, fucking Reagan, really? Guy looked good on camera and had some cool one-liners and slogans, but that's about it. Trickle-down economics doesn't work and has had a devastating effect, widening the wage gap year by year. No argument there. Volkai, paradox of tolerance in action. We need to be intolerant of these intolerant groups before they destroy us from within. Also, another great point, because that's what they tend to do. Hate groups like to co-opt and infiltrate. That's what they to pervert things that are, you know, well-meaning movements. All this shit right here, the punk rock shit. Skinheads used to come to our shows to try to recruit people who didn't have a good handle on, not just, you know, they may have had a great handle on the music, but they had none of the handle on the words. Makes me think of that Nirvana song. Likes to sing along, likes to shoot his gun, but he don't know what it means. Sound like anyone you know? These same people who drag out Bluetooth speakers with fucking Rage Against the Machine playing on them. They like to chant, fuck you, don't do what you tell me. Fuck you, I won't do what you tell me, but they have no idea. Just none. Clueless. That fuck in the Congress that actually tried to voice he had info of Antifa masquerading as MAGA terrorists from facial recognition. I'm so glad that they booed his ass last night. Yeah, a lot more people are going to try to pass that shit off, though. Fucking Fox News has been out ahead of that. They're already trying to pin it on Antifa. Hall gaming this country is fucking embarrassing. Yep. I figured some positivity would help this chat right now. Yeah. Not sure you're going to find a whole lot of it. Two cats yelling. Speaking of infuriating, I'm learning to play White Mage. Jesus. Evil Lives saying, I can't remember who said it, but it's not the people that run around saying the N-word. It's those smart people who hide the real themselves once in power. Yeah. Yeah, if actual racists ran around saying epithets all the time, they'd be really easy to spot. That's actually one of the few good things that Trumpism has brought us, is that it stopped the euphemisms, even from the fucking politicians, right? Like, even politicians that, years before would go, well, I believe in heteronormative relationships, and I think that it's the best for the family unit, and that, it's best for the child. They're finally dropping the pretense and going, yeah, fuck the gays. Their prejudice is easier to spot than ever. Because the prejudice has been there. Like, that's one of the things that used to drive me so crazy, is I'd sit there and I'd dissect and I'd pick apart their fucking language, and I'd go, you realize what he's saying, right? You're realizing he's introducing legislation that allows you legally to run over protesters. That's what all of that legalese is burying. If protesters are blocking the road, you have the right to careen into them at 70 miles an hour. And by the way, they have to pay you for the damages to your car. That last part, I think I made up. But that's actually real legislation. That's the kind of shit that I think about when I hear Democrats talking about, let's build bridges across the aisle. Fuck you. They made you vote down. They made you stand up and put on record that you are not okay with people being hit by cars. Motherfucker. Hall Gaming saying, I love hearing you on the One Fall Show podcast. There's some positivity for you. Thank you. Appreciate it. Karl Mark. Oh, here we go. Honest question. All the Trump supporters that are surprised by what happened, what the fuck do you think was going to happen when you supported someone who was claiming that the election was rigged? Oh, well, thank you, Carl. I sort of assumed that you were a troll that made a quick account based on what I was saying. I was wrong. Thank you. Great point. Great point. Arizona and Georgia are MVPs in this election. Absolutely. No, I believe it. I believe it. I had to actually read your message first, but I believe it. When Democrats compromise, it's always on Republican terms. It's fucking capitulation. That is a excellent word. I'd like everyone to write down tonight's vocabulary word, and that's capitulation. Thank you. Morgan Freeman gifting a Tier 1 sub to Karl Mark. Morgan, you are too kind and too generous. Thank you. Ramos, can I ask you a question? Do you think China is a big threat to America? Could be. I think economically they pose some challenges. I took an entire college class about East Asian political systems. We spent the first third of the class on China. I had a wonderful professor, Professor Pak. And I'm going to do his voice, and it's going to sound like I'm making fun of him, but I'm not, because this was his actual voice. He said, "You're going to remember one thing from this class and one thing only. China is big freaking country." And he's right. It's kind of the only thing I remember. China is a big freaking country. Here's the thing. Here's the fascinating thing about China. Did you know that China has never participated in a war outside of its own borders? It's a fact. You know, here's a better question. Here's an easier question for me to answer. Let me put it that way. Do I think China is a bigger threat than Russia? No. Russia is a far bigger threat. Way bigger. I think China is used as a convenient scapegoat for a lot of different things. It's kind of hard to sort that bullshit out. And I'm not saying that they're completely innocent either. Fucking Uyghurs and all of that, I know that. You don't need to get into any of that with me. I understand that. I think China's a big freaking country. They have a lot of people. I don't know, man. Like I said, they're economically, they're gonna compete with us for sure. I don't know about threat, man. Trump supporters all crying, and all I got to say is fuck your feelings. Yes, thank you, Giss. Kind of nice to be able to throw that back. By the way, I was always a fuck your feelings liberal. I'm just going to say that, going to put that out there. While I did say at the beginning that Nero was a character, and he was, there's more than a little bit of me that's thrown in there as well. And there's a little bit more than a little part of me that likes telling people, fuck off, fuck your feelings. I don't give a shit if you're upset or offended, and my opinion, it's going to be my opinion. Very few people have been able to knock my moral compass off of its bearing. Very few. And usually it's not being knocked off of its bearing. It's more like a course correction. So, Putin is like a Bond villain. Yeah, he is. Let's be honest here. The biggest danger to America is domestic, not foreign. At this point, yeah. I mean, I think a little bit more than the rhetoric against China is the fact that they own so much of our goddamn debt. You start to resent someone you owe a lot of fucking money to. Listen, does China crack down on free speech? Abso-fucking-lutely. But I'm not Chinese, so it's really hard for me to sit here and extol either the virtues or not of a system that I only know a little bit about. Since all the Trump supporters are Christians, I decided to put a Bible verse. You will recognize them by their fruits. Are grapes gathered from thorn bushes or figs from thistles? It's an interesting quote. It's not like Russia didn't just roll into Ukraine with guns blazing and the world did dick about it. Just like Hong Kong. Yeah, both of those things are true. And Hong Kong was fucking ugly, dude. For sure. 21st century, they prefer to wage war by denying claims to the sovereignty of territories instead of outright military action. That is also true, Dolvik, yes. And pressuring other countries not to contest their denial. Yep. You are true. Facts don't care about your feelings. Fuck yeah, Carl. China wouldn't be as big of an economic threat if the government didn't stop propping up oil companies and actually put subsidies into up-and-coming things like green energy. Yeah. Nero is Colbert Show type of character, not a Thanos type of character. Yes, that's an important distinction, because there were a lot of people that really thought, everything was face value with, the Nero character, and it most certainly was not. I love trolling Trump supporters with that how Biden stole the election joke. That's great. He got more votes. There was a report the FBI did where they found that the biggest threat was right-wing terrorism, and someone told them to stop looking into it. I wonder who the fuck that was. No idea. That's a mystery. Oh, Scoob, we got a mystery to solve. Zoinks. Just pay China back. pull us by our bootstraps. Wonder when the debt is going to come back to cause come back because Republicans love that bullshit point. It already did. It already did. When they were debating whether to give us $600 or $2,000, most of the Republican objection was, well, what about the debt? Man. China has a social credit system. That's batshit crazy. Yeah, that shit's like out of a fucking Black Mirror episode. But I'm telling you, we are fucking one step from doing that, from doing something to fucking curb this shit. Like, honestly, if you don't think that some form of internet media regulation is coming as a result of this, then you have not been paying attention to the unadulterated crazy that comes out of Alec Jones's fucking mouth on a daily basis. There is absolutely regulation that is coming for all forms of digital media, podcasting, fucking live streaming, YouTube. That shit is going to get shut down hard. Not like down where like, oh, we can't go there anymore. But like, you guys, you need to realize at one point in this country, you needed a fucking license to be a broadcaster, to be on the air on a television or a radio station in the United States. You had to apply for and be given a fucking license. So if you think that some form of regulation isn't coming down for this shit, I got very bad news for you. I have very bad news for you. It's been done before, and we have, when I say we, I mean new media has no representation in Washington. None. The only people who lobby for anything even close to our interests, our business interests, our legal interests, are broadcasting, so that's radio and television. Guess what, Chief? That ain't going to last long. They're going to save their own ass. They're going to save their own skin before they try to save yours. They already do it. They pay to register to stream their channel online. They pay for all of that music. It's a blanket license, but that's why you can't just download, Shoutcast server and throw, fucking every Spice Girls album that's ever been made on there and throw it on repeat. Fucking, they're going to come for you, buddy. For fucking sure. DMCA's in hand. You're going to be paying a lot of money. Okay? So, the only two that could possibly represent any of our interests in Washington is broadcasting. We already went over that. And big tech. So, Facebook and Google. How many people think that those companies that I just listed, no, Google, fuck off. I don't want you, actually have my best interest, my best business interest, my best legal interest? How many of them do you think have my best interest at heart? I'm going to go out on a limb and say not a ton. Chat answering with zeros. Yeah. Yeah. So, we're going to get it hard eventually. It's not going to be fun. A lot of your favorite content creators are going to be creatively restricted, whether it's through the music or the clips that they can reference, or whether you will need a license to make content. There's going to be something, there's going to be some way that regulation is going to happen for new media. Because, I mean, when people start asking questions like, how did we get here? That's sort of the first answer right there. All right, let's catch up on some of the chat here. Gimmorath saying, what amazed me was pro-Trump protests in Vancouver, Canada. Yeah. Yeah, there were all sorts of smaller protests all across the states. Yeah, it's the people in other countries that are sycophants of him that I really don't get. You don't even have to pretend to like him for any reason. Yeah, even in Westland, here in Michigan, there was some kind of riot or demonstration. It was ridiculous. Evil lives, and they are going to fuck it up too. They think 230 is the real problem. Oh yeah. The fact that Trump unleashed that talking point on his way out just. It fucking sends shivers down my spine. Because it's fucking... Yeah. Lafayette 5, or V, I'm not sure which. Republicans in Congress don't actually care about the deficit. That's just a platform that they use to rake in votes from a base that only minimally follows politics and couldn't work through a third-grade economic textbook. Both sides are big spenders these days. The difference is where the money goes. For Republicans, it's toward corporate tax breaks and defense spending and prison systems. That's a very accurate assessment. Yeah. I think it's pretty tough given, this Republican administration and the last to say that they are fiscally conservative whatsoever. Let's see. Canada has their own white nationalist problem very seriously and fast because you're a few years behind us. But on the same trajectory. Oh, Canada has to take their own. Okay, I see. Volkai. Interesting that the Spice Girls was where Nate went first. I would have expected Spin Doctors. Karl Marx. First they came for the socialists, and I did not speak out because I was not a socialist. Then they came for the trade unions, and I did not speak out because I was not a trade unionist. And then they came for the Jews, and I did not speak out because I was not a Jew. And then they came for me, and there was no one left to speak for me. Yep. One guy, and then they throw him out the boardroom window. Yeah. Even sound effects get DMCA'd on Twitch. Christ's sake. Tenor Martin saying, I think you can't put Eugenia Cooney in your video title on YouTube. Thanks, QAnon. Jesus. When the SCOTUS legalized political bribery with Citizens United. Yes, you are absolutely correct. Allowing corporations to donate unlimited money to candidates was the first knife in Caesar. That's a great point. It's a great point and accurate, too. Gimarath saying, I just like Trump as a clown. The Section 230 thing is ridiculous. Section 230 doesn't even do what the proponents of it taking down claim. That is also very true. It just allows you to sue YouTube for anything anyone puts on their platform. The entire world is on a white nationalist trajectory. It's just a question of how deep they are. Man. Yeah, I mean, this probably, when you started hearing about the shit like the Golden Dawn in Greece about 5 years ago, you think, man, that could never happen here. A lot of people that I've seen are opposed to 230, don't want it removed, just amended. Don't touch it. It's not bribery, it's donations. Hey, what are you going to do? Unfortunately, even here in New Zealand, we were all quite shocked at the mosque shootings. But after loads of investigation, it seems like it had been simmering for quite a while. Someone told me, I hope your skin gets peeled off, and I said, thanks. Wow. That's pretty intense. All right. I think I'm starting to wind down. I'm starting to feel a little bit better. I'm at least able to get it out. And I appreciate you guys. I appreciate you coming and checking out the stream and, entertaining what the fuck I had to say Because, who am I really? Who gives a shit? Right, I get it. But I genuinely think that this shit is important. It's not meaningless. Mounting an insurrection on the capital of the country is not meaningless. Hall Gaming, I'm becoming a bigger fan day by day. Thank you. Samos asking, how's Fritz doing? Fritz is doing very well. He's been harassing me today because I had to actually go into the station for work this afternoon. So he wants to hang out with me. So he's been scratching at the door a couple of times. But he's also been chewing cords again. So I can't let him in here completely unattended. Morgan Freeman, perhaps you and Will can get a mic and refresh us further. Plenty to talk about. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I don't know that it would be refresh. Maybe reload. But I wouldn't be so opposed to that. 40 people hanging out with me, just listening to what the fuck I had to say. It seems like there might be more interest in this than there is in me playing FF14. Fritz knows Dad keeps all the tastiest chords in there. Doesn't he ever? Gimarath saying, I've been around since episode 2 of LBR. Thank you so much, man. Appreciate it. Apathy is a goal. The masters want you tired and exhausted and sick of hearing about politics. Abso-fucking-lutely. 110% fucking right. And you know what? Fuck, on that account, they're close with me, man. It's so fucking... I want to disengage desperately from the news, from politics. But I can't. I mean, fuck, we didn't even talk about the fucking pandemic that's raging while all of these people are fucking cock to butt in the middle of the fucking Capitol. Fuck's sake, dude. Medical systems are slammed now. They're going to be fucking atrocious in 2 weeks. That's because people like you talking politics. Well, maybe they do. Maybe they do. Need a facts emoji. Yeah. That's actually a pretty good one. Should do a political episode every few weeks. Maybe. I might just open it up like this and just start talking. If something, strikes my fancy. Stan the Cat says hi. He's moved house, so he's a bit grumpy. He has to stay inside for a few more days. Well, Stan the Cat from Fritz the Cat, try to acclimate to your new home. Cock to butt, Nate, 2021. Just turn off the news and sit in the sun with a good book. That's not bad. That's not a bad suggestion. Karl Marx saying, my conservative Ben Shapiro, oh God, supporting brother, I'm so sorry, is whining because people are triggering him by saying Trump supporters set this up. But again, what the fuck did you think was going to happen? That's pretty good. You know, when you control someone just by extolling facts, you're doing pretty good. I did check out for a bit after the Democratic primary when Obama stepped in to get most of the candidates to step down to screw Bernie. Yeah, man, that was tough. It was tough, definitely. Let's see. MS saying, I've been around since, I think, late Heaven's Word era Limit Break Radio. I was immediately appalled by how hateful and down on the content the hosts were. Then I realized it was all wrestling kayfabe and started joining in on trolling the newbies. I have to say, I appreciate everyone who understood the kayfabe that was going on there. Does fuck get censored? No, we only censor real bad words around here. Volkai, I missed that it was kayfabe for a long time. I think that's why I listened less around then before ramping back up with Stormblood approaching. Fuckity fuck. Yep. This flat earth is getting crazy. Honestly, I did not know until you said it. I mean, I went out of my way to, oh God, that's in a lot of ways that's what the whole Reddit thread was about way back in the day. The 700 page or comment Reddit thread was that was me exposing the kayfabe and people not fucking believing me. I just gave you the punchline to the joke, motherfucker. Like, and I guess I tried to be cagey with it and not straight up just be like, it's kayfabe, it's a bit. I mean, I'm pretty sure I did say it was a bit, but like I prefaced it with a lot of my thoughts about humor and yeah. To this day, I'm sure that there are some people who still think that I'm a gigantic fucking asshole. I rarely cuss, so when I do, ideally, ideally gets a bigger impact. Like, what the fuck did they think was going to happen? Yep. I think the flat earth is the least of our concerns. Even if it was kayfabe, it's good to have a critical voice out there for anything. Well, kayfabe can still be genuine. You can still give your genuine opinion while keeping kayfabe. You know, like the fucking Steps of Faith. Oh, that was real. That was real. The internet really misses the joke sometimes. Yeah. You were too subtle, brother. You got to do a heel turn for them to buy it. I did do the heel turn. That's what fucking 11's version of Limit Break Radio was, the face version of the show, and I turned heel very slowly in about the first 16 episodes of the 14 LBR. Go back and listen to it. It's there. I promise you. It was purposeful. It was built. That was the plan. It started relatively slow. But you can hear it. Like, go back and listen to those episodes. You can absolutely hear the groundwork being laid for what the show would end up becoming in another year. Sci Guy, we have been talking about coups and insurrections, yes. AJ, I remember the 11 LBR reading from wikis and shitting on everything. See, we didn't shit on everything. We definitely read from wikis, but I don't think we shit on nearly enough. Because you got to remember, the people who hated Limit Break Radio the most in the 11 show was Blue Garter. Like, that forum fucking savaged us on a regular fucking basis. I loved when Papa Woody broke the headphones. 14 is really easy to shit on, yes. What's going on, Sevo Kevo? You may not enjoy tonight's discussion, Sevo. I'm just going to go ahead and warn you. It was great times, though. It was an honor being on your Synergy Furnace episode. That's what's up, man. That's what's up. Oh, I was also the one who suggested LB Army as the name for fans, not to brag or anything. Nice. Nice. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. You made excellent background for waiting for parties in Dunes. The 11 days were so great. The 11 days were such a simpler time. Yes, they were. The more you learn about yourself, the moment I was diagnosed as autistic, I immediately stopped caring about other people's thoughts about me. Interesting. Interesting perspective. All right, Sevo, as long as you know, you had to read it from the wiki for FF11. Devs never told you anything. Facts. Yeah, but nobody fucking remembers Blue Garter, and yet here we are with you. That's not true. That's not true. Blue Garter's still around. I'm still very tight with Sonoma and Ragans. So no, Blue Garter is very much still around. And they it's funny because in the switch from 11 to 14, they became some of our biggest supporters. So, NATO Meister's getting married. Congratulations. Yeah, Blue Garter is now the wiki of choice for 11. That's very true. Whatever happened to PFA? Is Steak still around? I don't know. I was never, outside of being a guest, I was never really involved with that show. Is FF11 retail still worth playing? Yeah, I stream it sometimes, actually. You should go back and look at my last couple of streams. It's different. It's really different. Actually, you know what? Go back and look at my first 2 11 streams if you want to see me getting really fucking frustrated really fast. Because I did. Morgan Freeman asking, was Rob from New York a bit? No, not at all. Not even a little bit. I don't know Rob. I don't know where he came from. I don't know where he found our show. I don't know why he latched onto it like he did, because he never played FF14. Rob from New York was absolutely not a bet. 100%. Carl Mark asking, what do you normally stream? Great question, Carl. And thank you for asking. For anyone who might be here just finding me in the Just Chatting and coming to the channel for the first time, my name is Nate Bender. Thank you for hanging out with me. I normally am on this channel streaming Final Fantasy XIV, Final Fantasy XI, Fallout 76, and, of course, on Saturdays, we do our WWE 2K19 Super Universe mode, where myself, Chuck Bean, who goes by Chizuck here in the chat, as well as Will Cherry, call matches of WWE 2K19. It sounds super nerdy, and it is, but it's also a lot of fun. You can check that out over on the One Fall Show YouTube channel, or just check out some of the past broadcasts here on the channel. And that's Saturdays at 4 p.m. Eastern here on the channel. It's better than Monday Night Raw. It certainly is. I can make that declaration without even, being concerned that I would be making somewhere close to a false statement. It is definitely better than Monday Night Raw. If you're also, Carl, if you're wondering, the reason that the name of this channel is Limit Break Radio is because Limit Break Radio was the podcast that I used to do as a part of this channel before I got hired away to do another show that I subsequently got laid off from around the start of the pandemic. So now I'm back here. There's no show currently called Limit Break Radio, but I'm holding things down on the channel. I enjoy learning about things that I have no interest in other than that they go deep into it. Oh, man. That sounds like some of the YouTube holes that I find myself going down. Like, one of my favorite things to do in the world is watch ghost videos. I don't believe in ghosts. I never have. I even had a ghost experience once at a shitty hotel at E3, and I still don't believe in those motherfuckers. But goddamn, do I love watching these ghost videos, because I'm like, that's probably bullshit. But every once in a while, you come across one where you're like, well, I can't explain that at all. And it's just fascinating. It's a passing interest that I have. And it's fun. It's a lot of fun. Anything you guys do is better than anything WWE can put out. Thank you. Appreciate that. Never seen an Irish Whip tables match. God damn. Right? I need to give the archive a watch. Yeah, there's some stuff in there that you got to check out. Also, I am uploading the FF14 video or the story parts that I'm doing. That's being cataloged over on the Limit Break Radio YouTube channel. Someone asked about that last time, and I realized that I hadn't told really anyone that. So if you're interested in seeing some of those, you can either, again, check out the archive here or hit up the Limit Break Radio YouTube. I couldn't care less about this game. Time to lead a strategy guide about it. That's hilarious. Do a deep dive on the 11 version era of Limit Break Radio. It's tough to find. It's not on the server is down. The website, I don't know what happened to the website, but I handed it over to Juxta and suddenly it disappears. So the 11 versions of the show are very difficult to find. I have them, but do you listen to Sarah's Ghost Show? Oh, Laughing in the Dark? Yeah, every once in a while I'll check it out. Well, you got laid off from a show you heavily created. Let's not sell yourself short there. Yeah, that's true. I mean, I did create it here in this room, sitting in front of the very computers and cameras that helped me do it. Yeah, and microphones too. Damn it, Juxta. Yes, indeed. You should do an Among Us session. I could. Never played it before. MS, I don't believe in ghosts, but I sure love spooky shit. Absolutely. But not every episode is still available on iTunes. I don't understand, like, what is available and what's not. Like, none of it makes sense. And you know, Sevo, that actually might be episodes that you downloaded. We need to get the LBR archives up on Anchor or something, unless it's feasible to revive the previous host server. Yeah, we still own it. I mean, all I would have to do is upload the episodes. It's just a matter of time. Oh, I have Keep Talking or Nobody Explodes. I really wanted to do that game as like the Limit Break Radio crew, but that never really like came to fruition. You know, the other thing that I might start doing eventually, I got a turntable for Christmas. My uncle got me a USB turntable for Christmas. And I don't know how many of you care about a band like Downcast or this one's especially interesting. This one, I love this name, .com or Doom. You should care about Doom because Doom's a great band. But these are all rare. A lot of these are out of print. And even more of them are like, yeah, fuck copyright. Should always be $3. Never sell for collector's prices. Which means that they've definitely not been scraped for DMCA purposes. So maybe I'll just start playing, if I can. I guess that's what I could do with my other webcam, is just set up a turntable cam. I had a Zune. I was using Zune, not iTunes. Yeah, no, I still have my Zune in my car. Keep it out there in case I forget my phone. Should I go through the English on Duolingo for clarification? I'm a native English speaker. And then why would you need to go through Duolingo? We don't listen for the bands, we listen for an hero. Well, I'll tell you what, the bands aren't going to help keep you here. You better be listening for me, because a lot of these bands are not good. Never downloaded the shows via iTunes except for a few. Yeah, okay, I mean, that's fair. I don't know what's still there and what's not. I might have learned English wrong. Which bands? I might check them out. Dude, I've got an entire shelf over there filled to the brim with 7 inches. I went through some of these earlier, but I'll go ahead and just do a smattering of them. Existenz, Divisions EP. This is all like hardcore punk rock. The Excrement of War Beyond Description, Split EP. The Excrement of War, I believe. That's the Dischange Split. So there's the Dischange cover on the back. Ate, E-T, and then that A-E symbol that they run together. I don't know what that's actually called. But great Japanese hardcore punk band. Entombed. With the gas masks and the axes on the cover. I believe this was a Profane Existence. No. This was from a record label called Torture Garden Picture Company. Again, I dragged these out very early on for the demonstration that, I very easily could have been. Here's Akaya. It's just not very interesting. It's just a black cover. There but for the grace of God go I, with yesterday's bullshit that went down. I grew up listening to and believing in a lot of the platitudes that are espoused in these records, whether they are accurate, truthful, or not. Some of them are. Some of them are wonderful sentiments. Some of them are not. And it took me developing a bullshit detector against the things that I enjoyed and that I loved to be able to appreciate that. Iconochrist, Another Victim EP. This is a great record right here. Phenomenal. From Ebullition Records. I believe that's a reprint, although just for shits and giggles. A lot, like, I was a big record collector. I was a big nerd. So, like, a lot of these, oh, fuck. I thought that this was going to be colored vinyl. Trick of the Light. A lot of these are colored vinyl. Let me see if I can find one. It's not this one, but this one is another Iconochrist EP, Skewed, also off Ebullition Records. Another black vinyl. Ebola. Not sure. I think this is a split, but I could be wrong. Not sure. Ooh. Here's one that's tough to defend. Here's a cover that is really, that's very challenging to defend. East Coast Panic, Line of Fire. That's pretty indefensible right there. Again, you know, you would think I would have fit the profile of one of these dumb motherfuckers going out there half-cocked, trying to overthrow the government. Drop Dead, Totalitar, Split EP. Downcast, another Abolitions Records. .com. This actually, is this one? Yeah, here we go. Here's some colored vinyl. My fucking webcam is in black and white. There you go. Colored vinyl, guys. Plenty of that shit. I got tons of colored vinyl. Doom, Police Bastard. It's from Profane Existence. I'm pretty sure that's a repress. Anyway, but yeah, the reason that, that I had gotten those out was to just kind of show, where my head was at pre-college. And, how susceptible to that shit I was. And it takes knowing who you are and having a strong moral compass to not let that shit work its way into your belief system. And I have to thank my parents for that. My parents gave me a very, 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 very strong bullshit detector. Dude, you need a black album cover before you can be a real band. Everyone knows that. That's pretty funny. Yes, they're all 7 inches. I have 7 inches. I've got 12 inches. I've got some 10 inches. I've got a 9 inch, but I'm going to keep that to myself. Let's see. My dad has, and I'm not kidding, something like 500 pounds of vinyl records. Yeah, that sounds about right. That sounds pretty close to what my dad's got. Could you imagine if Ebola broke out right now? Yeah. Dumb question. How's the audio quality from vinyl records compared to digital? Well, for these records, it's not going to make a goddamn bit of difference because they were recorded on a fucking 4-track halfway across the room from some guys that were screaming at the top of their goddamn lungs. So these specific records, you're not going to hear a whole lot of difference. Also, so the biggest difference in digital recording versus analog recording is that analog recording is a recording of a moment. It is the sound of the room, the sound of the microphones, and the sound that is being picked up by those microphones. And in completely analog recordings, you get more warmth, you get more resonance, you get more of the room. If you have a great turntable and you have some spectacular speakers, you can turn that up and feel like you are in the fucking room. But that all goes away the minute any part of that recording is digitized. Because a digital recording is a sample. It is it's taking a sample of what is coming into the input and, depending on the sample size, is recreating what the computer is hearing through ones and zeros. So anytime you take a recording and you take it and maybe it's on tape and someone digitally remasters it. They take each one of those tracks and they jump it to digital individually so that they can go back and digitally futz with it. It is no longer an analog recording, even if you then take that remix and then press it onto vinyl. Anytime the signal has been digitized in any way, shape, or form, it no longer becomes an inherent digital signal, and it no longer becomes an inherent analog signal, and therefore you end up losing much of that tone, that resonance. So for those people that say, oh man, vinyl sounds so much better, if they're talking about shit that was recorded before 1978, they might be right. But only if they're talking about the original pressing of it, or like maybe the first 2 or 3, and not a digital remaster. Again, if you buy a digital remaster on vinyl, you might as well have just bought the fucking MP3s off of iTunes. Because it's the exact same thing. It's never going to change. But a purely analog signal played on a analog, and by the way, you have to not only have a record player, but you have to have a digital tube amp amplifier for this to be applicable, because digital amplifiers will convert it into a digital signal. Then yes, vinyl does sound better. Nothing that has been made within the last 20 years is inherently digital. Actually, nothing that's been made within probably the last 30 years, nothing that has been pressed, has not had some kind of digital mastering, digital mixing, something. So the majority of people that tell you vinyl sounds so much better are full of horse shit. But if you notice, oh shit, they've actually got a tube Rode amp and everything, they might be right. They might know what they're fucking talking about. You just stepped on a landmine. Yep. Like a good 12 inches. That's what she said. Black album cover is for when you don't want to put effort into the album cover. 9 inches now. My bullshit detector's going off. No, I got to the dick joke faster, Emma's. 500 pounds of vinyl, and yet I still have access to more music than him thanks to YouTube and Spotify. That's true. Spotify audio is so bad. I don't think it's that terrible. Some of it's compressed, but most of the time you can't really tell. Another thing about analog versus digital is that also different techniques to record often, like with synths, you aren't quite playing the speaker. That's a really good point. You can have an analog recording with a digital instrument, but the digital instrument needs to have been recorded not through a DI box. DI stands for direct input, not through a DI box, but it actually needs to be played through an amplifier and then have a analog microphone set up next to the cone of the speaker of the analog amplifier. That's how you do that. That's possible, to have a digital element as a part of an analog recording. Let's see. Most music is crazy compressed. 99% of the time, digital is better, and the only reason people say the other is confirmation bias, making them believe it's better. Yeah, I would say that. I would say that for anyone except for people who actually own analog amps, and then even a few of them too, because they just are like, oh, Jack White owns one, I should go buy one. Edges and middles, you know. Records that skip, though, feels bad. Cleaning the record and the needle, yeah. Another thing is the type of people who own the original record are the kind of people who own good audio stuff. Yeah, I would say if someone goes out of their way to track down original pressings of stuff, there's a better than good chance that they understand the difference between an analog and a digital amplifier. Carl asking, are you a musician? Used to be. This was my band. I was 17, 18. I was like 17, 18, 19 when I was in this band. And I didn't play an instrument. I screamed, actually. Band is called Uprising. And this EP was called As Long as There's Profit to be Made, There's No Telling When the Killing Will End. So if you wanted to know what my fucking moral compass was at 17, 18, 19 years old, still pretty much the same. Carl, if you can find it, please do listen to it. I don't think I actually have the Titan recording at the moment, offhand. Screaming counts as playing instruments, just a very personal instrument. That's good. One, coming to the realization that some people I respected at some point turned out to be complete fucking idiots. Yeah. Number 2, got fat. Yeah. Yeah. Both those things have happened to me over the pandemic. Late 80s Bad Religion style cover on your band, Nate. I mean, that would be fun. Do it. Shit. I have an entire fucking box of these fucking records sitting in my closet that I don't know what to do with. If you want one, DM me, I guess. I'll send you one. The weirdest thing is, period-appropriate equipment can make music sound really interesting. Not necessarily good, but there's something about listening to 50s, 60s through shitty, tinny speakers. Yeah. There is. And actually, I do think that it's really fascinating, especially when you get a recording from, the 50s or the 60s, and you put it through something that is a little bit more robust, right? That has the lows and the highs, good tweeters, not blown out cones, an analog amplifier. You're going to hear some shit on that recording that you wouldn't hear otherwise, Titan's still on YouTube. I know, you know what, Carl? I know that we have. You said you'd be back in a minute. I'll answer that in a second. What up, Decibels? How's it going? People talking in the background, guitar strings clicking. Yeah. You hear all of that. It's kind of what I meant by you hear the room. They didn't have things like, they did, but they were extraordinarily expensive. Things like noise gates, You had a lot less of that. I mean, back in the 50s and 60s, you didn't have noise gates at all. But even in the 70s, 80s, that kind of equipment was pretty exclusive to, the biggest recording studios in the country. Don't worry, the microphone won't pick that up. I mean, dude, there are entire jazz records where I promise you, you can go back, and if you turn that bitch up loud enough, you can hear entire fucking conversations. Sometimes between band members, sometimes if it was a live recording, you could hear between audience members. Some of those recordings are goddamn incredible. Because they're not only time, they're place as well. A lot of people, a lot of recording engineers used to consider the room that you played in a major instrument. That's why a lot of those jazz records, when they said, this is recorded at the Blind Pig or whatever, that's why sometimes that was really important, because there were collectors that would collect by venue, by room. I have some Oscar Peterson recordings like that. Yeah. Yeah. Decibels, we are having a conversation about what happened last night. And to be honest, I'm kind of winding down. I'm starting, I had an hour and a half's worth of sleep last night, worked a full day today. I'm starting to feel it, guys. I'm starting to feel it. I got all of the energy out of me. Hey, Betsy DeVos resigned? Shit, that's 4 years too late. Again, don't laud or applaud the resignations that are happening right now. There are only 14 days left. These people are putting in their 2 weeks with 13 days left on their fucking punch card. They're rats jumping from a fucking ship. Yeah, no, we had kind of reached the sort of end of the political discussion. You're going to have to go back and see what I said there. And yeah, we've kind of devolved into recording techniques. So if the studio is really important to you guys, I urge you to give Le Studio up here in Canada a look. A lot of your favorite bands recorded albums there and could use the support after the big fire in 2017. Interesting. I will definitely take a look at that. I've arranged a cover of a song, but then I realized I'd have to pay a string quartet at the least. I have friends that play the others, and I'm really not down to pay them, which is sad because I wanted to get it recorded. Yes, and the occasional dick joke. By the way, Carl, most of the reason that I have that recording knowledge is that I worked in a studio and was a recording engineer for like 3 or 4 years. So learned a lot about studio recordings. And you had asked if any of the Uprising material is available online. It is. I think there's 1 or 2 songs on YouTube that you can find. One of them is called A Bitter Harvest. Carl, the dick jokes are too small for me to see them. Like my dick. It's good. Yeah, there's at least one song I know for a fact called A Bitter Harvest that exists on YouTube because I made it. Like I made the video for it. And it was always the song that I was kind of most proud of. So there was one day I was bored. Bitter, Bitter, A Bitter Harvest. The song is all about Christopher Columbus. It was not a song that I wrote, actually. My buddy Isaac wrote this song. And to this day, I still think it was the best thing that we ever recorded. Take it easy, Sevo Kevo. Have a good one. Thanks for stopping by. I appreciate it. Were you Uprising Detroit? Yeah, it was Uprise Detroit because that was the name of the website, uprisedetroit.com. But yeah, that's me. I think there's one other video on there that's like a Final Fantasy XI video. I can almost guarantee you that that's it. Yep, that's it. Same logo. An thing. I feel better. I feel better now that I've been able to kind of talk about it. I talked about it with do I still play? God, no. Oh, no. No. Like I said, I screamed in that band, and now I do that professionally. Do you know the LICC? No, I don't think I do. I don't believe that I do. The Sandorian Bagpipes. If you want to hear the most recent time that I did the Sandorian Bagpipes, check out the archive. And I believe that was my first stream back to Final Fantasy XI. I did the bagpipes. Bullshit, Nate. You still play? I've heard you scream. Yes, I still can produce the noise, but I don't want to destroy my voice. I've already been talking for 2 hours almost completely uninterrupted. I'm surprised I have a voice. Are you broadcasting from the Swan Station? Yeah, I am. In fact, I gotta go. I gotta go punch in the numbers here in another 56 minutes. I love that somebody recognized the patch. That's fucking awesome. Can we have a Nate Bagpipes Husky by the Geek remix? You know, if Husky by the Geek wanted some screaming vocals for a song, I would definitely oblige him for sure. I should be a screamer. I mean, I do it a lot. You know, if you wanted to be a screamer back in like 2006, 2007, that was a common job title that you could search for in the music industry. Do the bagpipes. Jesus Christ. Again, my voice is shot today. Not just because of this stream, but again, I did work a full day today and I was talking all day, so. Dance, monkey, dance. No. I can't. I can't imitate bagpipes at all. In fact, it doesn't sound anything like bagpipes. It's a song that uses bagpipes that I make fun of with my obnoxious caterwailing. The exhaustion is real mentally, at least. Yeah, and I only got an hour and a half's worth of sleep yesterday, so I'm really starting to feel it. Who is Henry Gale? Who is Henry Gale? Really? You can call me Desmond for today. I'm just making Lost jokes that nobody's getting. Well, I take that back. That pause for no one would get. Karl Mark, have you ever heard of James Blake, the singer? Isn't he a wrestler? No, that's James Drake. No. I don't know. Maybe. He's a musician. Okay, so maybe. I don't know if I've heard his music offhand. Thank you, Torquil. If you want to hear my version of the bagpipes, you can go find it there. Ugh. Limit Your Love. I'll check it out. I'll definitely check it out. Crazy experimental. You just sealed the deal. Now I'm definitely going to check it out. I like weird shit. I like weird shit. So I can definitely get down on that. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Actually, the commercial you did for 11 LBR for your fake music album. That's right. I do have somewhere on this computer. Anyway, guys, that I think is going to do it for me today. I want to thank you all for Mr. Bungle's really weird shit. I love Mr. Bungle. So I really, really want to say thank you guys for hanging out today. If you resubbed or, gift subbed, I know Morgan Freeman gift subbed to Carl. Thank you. I appreciate it. This has been almost therapeutic for me to kind of get this off my chest because, I wasn't convinced when I got home today that I was going to stream. I wasn't convinced that I could find the words that I needed to find, that I wanted to find, to be able to express myself. And I appreciate you guys giving me not just the opportunity, because you have come here and been a willing audience, but also giving me the patience and continued to support the platform. That definitely means a lot to me, and I can't thank you guys enough. So, again, I'm going to mention it one more time. Normally here on the channel, we're streaming FF11, FF14, Fallout 76, and, of course, WWE 2K19. So, if you stumbled across this channel and have just been listening to my completely unedited thoughts for the better part of 2 hours, maybe hit that follow button. Psy Guy hitting that follow button. Carl hitting that follow button earlier. Maybe consider hitting that follow button and coming back and hanging out another time that I'm live and not necessarily having to try to figure out what to say in a deeply and profoundly disturbing moment in our country's history. I hope. I really, really hope. But you know what? If it does happen again, I think that this is pretty valuable. I think that this conversation has been valuable. I think what you guys have brought up in the chat has been immensely valuable. And I hope that you have found the value in what I had to say today. So, thank you guys. I really, really do appreciate it. And //. Thank you, Torquil. I appreciate that. Thank you for the resub, man. That definitely means a lot to me. Let's see. A moment to commiserate. You're welcome. Hope you sleep better tonight. Fritz will help you sleep. Yes, absolutely. Finally doing Orban Monastery for the first time. Nice, Volkai. Just rewatched Razor Ramon 1-2-3 Kid feud on YouTube yesterday. Pause. You should definitely come back here on Saturday for our WWE 2K19 Super Universe mode, heavily modified, over 150 different wrestler mods that have been put in there, mostly up-to-date rosters and some phenomenal modding work on display from the folks over at Smack Talks and 2K Mods. Absolutely come check it out Saturdays 4 p.m. or check out some of our old episodes over on the One Fall Show YouTube channel. Just search One Fall Show on YouTube. And by the way, hit that subscribe button if you do that, because we'd like to get to the minimum number of subscribers that you need in order to be able to get like youtube.com/onefallshow. And also maybe check out the One Fall Show podcast. It's a wrestling podcast and a quiz show that you can check out at onefallshow.podbean.com. Carl, I will see you next stream. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone, for hanging out, for your comments. It has been great to speak with you this evening, this afternoon. I'm going to send out a host here or a raid here in just a second. I'd like as many of you as possible to be a part of the raid. I like to raid channels that, either I know or are in a similar category as what I stream in. And don't have a ton of people watching them. So I'm going to be sending that out here in just a minute. Thank you guys so much for allowing me to do this. I'm so glad that I have a community that is receptive to things like this. And because you guys have been so receptive and this went so well, this is definitely going to be something that I'm looking to do in the future. Thank you guys so much. Have a wonderful night. And genuinely, take care of one another.